everybody, welcome back. It's Cash. Thank you very much for joining me. Today I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to respond to the video I did a couple of weeks ago about what it's like to die. That's what the video is called. A lot of people wrote comments afterwards and sent me questions and stuff like that. Too many for me to answer in any other video. But I thought I'd answer them here today and provide a list of what I think are 7 major insights or side effects that I got after going through that near-death experience. I spent a lifetime, a career in radio and television, meeting deadlines, or writing books to a deadline, producing reports to a deadline. So I always have a sense of urgency about me that things have to be done by a certain time. I'm very punctual. That's dissipated noticeably. I'm not really as bothered about things as I was before. If I miss a deadline or I miss a time of something, it's like, okay. And it's hard to get that back. I just don't feel pressured to meet deadlines anymore. Very strange. Having been in that state of leaving my body and having a complete detachment from the mortal world and from my body and from any feelings or connections to people and things and places and so on, having been through that sort of numbness, I find that I can enter it again quite easily. The other night, for example, I was woken up by fire trucks and helicopters and goodness knows what else. Some trees had caught fire close to the house. And there was a danger, I guess, that it could spread. I don't know what the cause was, but there was a danger it could spread. And I lay there for a moment and thought, maybe I should get my important documents together and my valuables in case I have to evacuate, because that happens these days. Then I remembered, of course, I can do pictures for it. So I did pictures for the fire, and I simply saw it a bit like flaps of an envelope, being flapped, 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 covered over. A few wayward embers and sparks went here and there, and then it went out. So I thought, oh, it's going to be fine. So I, rather than worry about it, was able to slip back into that state of detachment and just go to sleep. And sure enough, the following morning I woke up, no fire, everything was fine. And because I had not got worked up over it, I had the most marvellous night's sleep without worry. I'm not as impacted by negativity or problems as I was before. I have a greater perspective on how much they matter now. So, for example, there was a guy who left some really horrible comments under a video I did recently, and they were just nasty, disguised as friendly, as positive, but incredibly damning. And before this all happened, I would have been like, oh, somebody doesn't like me, oh no, this is terrible, maybe I should change. I was very sensitive to all of that. And instead, I looked at it and I didn't take that energy on myself. Because my thought was, hey guy, I almost died 2 weeks ago. Really? You think I'm going to bother about your negativity? Nah. Odd. It just gives a new context and perspective to everything that might harm you. Number 4, I value life more. That's for sure. I go around and I look at things, I admire architecture, I smell flowers. There's just a sense of, wow, this is all amazing now. It's like everything is more brightly coloured, everything is more exciting and interesting and absorbing than it was before. Because, again, perspective. I understand what it's like to be without that. So why not value it while I'm here? I have way more trust now in the way things work out. I don't feel that I have to control as much, or push things along, or impose my will on other people or on situations, and so on. There is a definite sense of relaxation there, of just letting things be, letting the world carry me forward with its current, rather than me having to paddle furiously in the opposite direction. I'm very relaxed about that too. I would say I've revised my bucket list substantially, thinking, wow, I really should go and do that, because one day I won't be able to. I once met a woman at a party whose brother, she said, had been diagnosed with stage 4 cancer and given a very, very limited lifespan. His family were distraught at the idea of losing him. Everybody was upset. And I said, well, okay, what's he doing then? And she goes, he's doing nothing. He refuses to go where they are so that they can pour their distress and weeping and fear on him. He simply bought a dog and moved to the beach. I said, and he's alive? She said, oh yeah, he's better than ever. Isn't that great? And it was just that, wow, there's the death threat. How many things do I have left to do, given a limited span of time? Now, you don't have to be terminally ill to do those things. You just have to think, wow, life is actually short. We all know the words, we all say them, life is for living. But in the end, do we really live by that motto? I don't know that we do. I call it the stooping giant syndrome. We're giants, we're gods. We can do amazing things if we can step beyond shame, regret, bitterness, anger, and so on. If we can shed these burdens, we can achieve great things. But the giant stoops. The giant won't stand to its full height. I think in one of my books, I don't know if it's Why Your Life Matters or Archangel's Apprentice, or both, possibly, I say about carrying these burdens of worries, anxiety, and shame, regret, fear, and so on. Fear of what people will say, fear of failing, and so on. At some point, you have to lay that burden down. You're going to carry it through your entire life. Resentment against people, grudges, unhappiness. You're going to carry that burden through your entire life. What this near-death experience taught me is that if I hadn't learnt this already from other experiences, that stuff can go. Put your burden down, finally. It's time. When I was in my 20s, a guy I knew from college, he wasn't even a friend, but a guy I knew from college, wrote to me and said, will you come and see me? I go, sure, but I couldn't afford it. I didn't have the money for the train fare. I was completely broke. So I just said, at some point in a few weeks' time, when I saved up the money, I'll get on a train, I'll come and see you. Well, that weekend, he killed himself. And about 2 weeks later, I got a letter, in the days when we used to send letters, I got a letter from his parents blaming me for his death. I was about 22. That's a heavy burden to lay on anybody at 22. And they said that if I'd gone to see him, I could have saved his life. I could have talked him out of killing himself. Now, this guy was a composer. He was a musician. Very unusual, very talented. He could have done great things and been of service to the world with his music. Instead, he chose to kill himself. But I saw an episode of Oprah where the guest was Gary Zukav. Remember Gary Zukav? He wrote The Seat of the Soul. Really fabulous book. And he was talking about what happens when you take your own life. And he said, Okay, you do that, then what? At some point in the future, somebody is going to walk into a room and unconsciously go, where is he? Where is she? And a moment will have been lost, an important moment. And I thought about that for the longest time and thought, yeah, you know, what if we each have a number of destiny points? Points of service, where we're there for other people. We have information, we have a smile to give, we have a service to provide, whatever this is. A point of service, a destiny point, where we're there for other people. In fact, what if the only reason we're here, beyond learning and growing and so on, is to be of service to other people? And it was never about us, ever. What happens if it's not about us? It's about other people and what we can do for them. And again, in Why Life Matters, I wrote about this, and I said that if you want to find your purpose, it is standing at a crossroads. It's standing at the intersection between passion and service. It's taking what you're most passionate about and applying it to the world and being of service to other people. You have to find your point of service, and then fulfillment comes, wholeness comes, happiness comes, and so on. If you don't do that, you are depriving the world of the greatness that you bring to it. The uniqueness too. You're the only one who can do whatever this thing is. You bring that uniqueness to it. One viewer commented under the video, but included, and I'm sorry I don't remember your name, that's very remiss of me, but they included part of a Rumi poem. It sums up what the lessons are of this experience that I had 2 weeks ago. Out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there is a field. I'll meet you there. When the soul lies down in that grass, the world is too full to talk about. Ideas, language, even the phrase each other doesn't make any sense. The breeze at dawn has secrets to tell you. Don't go back to sleep. You must ask for what you really want. Don't go back to sleep. People are going back and forth across the doorsill where the two worlds touch. The door is round and open. Don't go back to sleep. We are asleep a lot of the time. We accept this dualism of separation, that I am separate from you. You are separate from the cosmos. The universe deals with those people differently to those people. Your skin color makes you different to that person with that skin color. All this stuff is about division and separation. And it's part of being asleep. This new age we're going into, we're all waking up slowly. And it's such a phrase, wake up. But that's what's happening. We're waking up to possibilities. The stooping giant may well stand up to his or her full height yet and go, take me as I am. But we can only do that if we put this burden down. This burden that Brené Brown was really talking about, of shame, regret, sense of disappointment or rejection or not being good enough, whatever that is, that burden has to be laid down. And then the giant no longer has to stoop because there's nothing pulling him or her down. And that's really the main lesson I learned from that experience. Don't go back to sleep. Thank you, universe. I appreciate it. As I appreciate you for watching. Thank you very much, and I'll do another video soon. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.